2 weeks ago, you said you were considering a run for the White House, and now here we are. You've launched an exploratory committee. Can you just walk me through what led up to the decision?
Well, I took a lot of time and spent time talking with my family and friends, and came to the realization that the country needed someone who was honest and principled, and what we were getting out of Washington wasn't cutting it. We have two parties that are always fighting each other. There's partisan bickering about everything, and we really need practical approaches based in humility, and we don't have that right now in Washington.
So was it a difficult decision for you to make?
It was a difficult decision because I love representing this district, and I weighed that very carefully. I feel very good about my prospects in the district. When I go around, people are very kind, very supportive, and I felt very good about the possibility of winning the district again as an independent, and that would have been important for our district and for the country. But when I look at the presidential field, I see two candidates who aren't really cut out for it, and we really need leadership in Washington right now, and we need honesty and practicality, and we don't have that right now.
Sure. So what prompted you to do this now, of all times?
Well, it's just a matter of taking the time with my family and friends and others and making sure that I felt comfortable moving forward with this. As I've said before, I didn't want to run unless I felt I could win, and I do feel I can win this race, and that's important. I don't want to run to be a spoiler, never wanted to run to be a spoiler, wanted to run to win the presidency. And I feel like there is a good chance of doing that with this field and with the kind of tension in this country, over these candidates. There's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who don't like these candidates and want something different. And what they want is, again, honesty, practicality, someone who will trust the people, and not just a rehash of past candidates. And right now you've got two older candidates who really represent the past, and we need something different going forward.
Sure. So how do you plan to run a competitive race against two major parties?
Well, that's always a challenge, but I really believe the Libertarian Party has the opportunity here to become a major party. And that's because the Republican Party has abandoned so many conservatives and others who don't feel like the current party represents them. And the Democratic Party has left a lot of people behind as well. There are a lot of progressives out there and others who feel like the Democratic Party isn't representing them. It's just representing corporations and big government and bureaucratic style government and not really caring about the people. And I think we need a candidate in this race who will represent the people, who will stand up for all people.
Sure. So you recently became an independent. So what drew you to the Libertarian Party in this sense?
Well, it's a party that's growing. It's a party that has an opportunity to become a major party. And when I've looked at being an independent over the past several months, yeah, we've made ground. We've convinced more people to come over to the independent side of things. But really, that's a long game, being an independent. That's something that is going to take many years to change the mentality of the country, to get us to the place where people feel they don't really need parties. I hope that that's the future. I think that we should have candidates running on their own merit and not having to worry about the parties. But in the near term, you have the Republicans and Democrats really harming this country, and they need a major challenger, and Libertarian Party can be that challenger. And I feel very good about the way the party is headed and where it can go from here.
Sure. So what does this mean for your constituents in West Michigan?
Well, it's an honor to represent the people of the 3rd District, and we'll continue to do that. My staff and I, throughout the course of this pandemic, of course, we've been helping lots of constituents with issues every day. I'm dealing with constituent issues where people are not getting the money they need, not getting the help they need, and we'll continue to do that, and I'll continue to represent them in Congress for the remainder of this term.
So can you walk me through a little bit of what your next steps are? You have this exploratory committee, so what's next for you?
So next steps are to introduce myself to a lot of the country. It's obvious that the two major party candidates have a lot of name ID. everyone knows Donald Trump and most people know Joe Biden. So they don't really have to introduce themselves, but I do. If you did a poll of the country, you might have my name ID at 1% or 2% or something very low. So it's about getting out there and getting people to know that I'm an option on the ballot, that I'll be there to provide people an alternative to these two. And of course, it's important to win the nomination first. So I have to reach out to the members of the Libertarian Party and seek their support and work with the Libertarian Party to grow that party. I can't do this without a strong party behind me in this case, and I think that I'll have to spend a lot of time with Libertarian Party members over the next several weeks to earn their support.
Sure. And then from there, what's your plan?
So from there, the plan is to win. We'll go out and we'll work hard. I will be working around the clock. I can outwork President Trump and Joe Biden. I'm very confident about that. And we're going to give people an alternative. And I think people want to see a candidate for president who looks more like them, who represents them. And right now we have two candidates who are from a very different generation, who have had their chance, who have been either in office like President Trump or like Joe Biden has been in office for many years and has run for president many times. It's time for a new generation of people to take the lead. And I think that there are a lot of people who will want that, who will be excited about that.
Just logistically speaking, I mean, we do have a pandemic right now, and there are a lot of regulations in place for meeting with people and holding events. So how do you plan to introduce yourself to the American people under those parameters?
Well, it is challenging, but I'm pretty confident I can do it on Twitter. I can do it on Facebook. I can use social media. I can do video conferencing like this. I'll be able to reach out to lots of people, and that's the key. Just getting my face on TV as much as possible, being on the radio as much as possible, and I'll continue to work on my setup here at home and make sure that I have the ingredients necessary to get my message out there. But it's just a matter of getting out there, speaking to people, and getting them to understand who I am and what I'm about and what I'm representing. And what I really represent is a return to some normalcy and protection of their rights. I mean, I think that's the key here. Our government was designed to protect people's rights, and you have two candidates in Trump and Biden who aren't really about protecting people's rights. I don't know if they're running for president for vanity reasons or whatever, but these are not the best candidates the parties could have put forward, and I think people deserve a real alternative.